The Etrian Odyssey games are coming to the Nintendo Switch! Yay? But at least that means that the Persona Q games are coming to literally everything. Not just the Switch, though. I'm not a Nintendo fan man, after all. Long time ago, I made a video about why Persona Q games shouldn't come to the Nintendo Switch at all, but my reasoning for it at the time was that I just felt like it was more important to put the mainline games on there first so the curious Smash fans' first impression of Persona wasn't drawing maps and being expected to know like 30 different characters without being able to appreciate the charm of the Persona cast mingling. Nah, everybody's first impressions of Persona games should be living a high school life in Tokyo and dating your teacher. Wait, that's a bad example. Oh well, at least it's not the worst romance option I could have mentioned. At any rate, though, now that the Switch, Series X, and Steam all have the real Persona games, I'm not against the idea of bringing the Q spin-offs anymore. Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not exactly that excited for them either. Not because I didn't like the Persona Q games, though. I thought they were pretty neat, actually. It's just that these, along with the Etrian Odyssey games for that matter, were specifically made for the 3DS's touchscreen, and I'm sorry, but I just don't have any doubt in my mind that drawing maps will never be as good on the Switch, or really anything else without real touch controls for that matter. Trust me, I don't even need to play it, I just know for a fact, cause, like, sure, the Switch does technically have touch controls if you get your ass up and undock the damn thing, and oh yeah, have fun using your dirty-ass fingers, cause even the handheld-only Switch Lite doesn't come with a stylus. But I mean, it's not like Nintendo's ever gonna make a 4DS, 3DS2, or new 3DS, or whatever they would call it if they did make it. So I mean, porting these games to all the modern platforms is certainly better than keeping them stranded on the 3DS for all the space and time, even if these ports don't end up quite being the same as they used to be. Look, every time I justify ports, I always feel the need to clarify that I always prefer new content, but like, they only take 5 minutes, so I don't know why people lose sleep over them. Hell, I say port every game ever to everything, and that includes Persona Q games of the Switch, Series X, Steam, and of course the PS4 and 5. Like, yeah, I know that right now Atlus is only doing the Etrian Odyssey games, but I don't think I'm getting ahead of myself for a second here, because if they found a way to make Etrian Odyssey work on not the 3DS, then of course Atlus will port the games from the much more popular franchise that use the exact same mechanics. I mean, it may be a little while before they end up getting around to it, but there's definitely no way that it's not gonna happen. I don't know whether or not it'll come before the dancing games, but there's no way in hell it's not at least in the pipeline. Given all the recent Persona releases on multiple platforms, though, then I'd say it's probably a good idea to let the franchise breathe and share the spotlight on Etrian Odyssey for a little bit. Sure, this might create new Etrian Odyssey fans who try Persona Q as their first Persona game, and they won't really get what the hype's all about, but like, I'm pretty sure most people can comprehend what a spin-off is. Suppose if Etrian Odyssey flops hard, then they might not even bother with the Persona Q games at all, and I don't know whether or not that'd be Atlus's logic here, but I really don't think that people view Persona Q as a sequel to Etrian Odyssey, so even if literally nobody bought the Etrian Odyssey games, I still think that Persona Q would do alright just based off of the Persona fan base, especially with all the new fans that came from the series going multiplat. I mean, the first Persona Q game sold about 250,000 copies, and the best-selling Etrian Odyssey game only sold about 71,000, so I'd be shocked if Atlus let the sales affect their decision on whether or not to modernize Persona Qs 1 and 2. I mean, let's be real here, making these games from scratch didn't really take all that much effort in the first place, which is why they got so many sequels, despite being relatively niche. So like, it can't be that hard to port these games, and now that the myth Persona as a permanent Sony exclusive has been broken, it's only a matter of when, not if, Persona Q is gonna pop up somewhere. By the way, it was funny that the Sony exclusive myth ever existed in the first place, seeing as how Persona Q was kinda on the, well, you know. Although when it comes to Persona Q in particular, there is the issue of there only being a dub for the Japanese version of the game. The 3DS was on its freaking deathbed when this game came out, even in Japan, which always gets JRPGs way earlier than the rest of the world, so it's not like Atlus was gonna be bothered to hire the foreign voice actors for the game. Hell, we're lucky to have even gotten this at all. Seeing as I knew for sure that Atlus was gonna eventually port this game to something someday, I thought they might as well have just hired the English voice actors then to make the original release feel more important, and then they could have just copy and pasted it for ports down the line. I mean, seriously, this game did not feel remotely important at all when it first came out. It was almost like Atlus was embarrassed that they had to put it out in the first place. You could argue that the game didn't sell well, but it actually sold outstandingly, if you think about it anyway. I mean, the number of copies might not have been that high, but the copies that did make it to store shelves sold out immediately, and if they ended up being scalped out the ass this hard, then the only conclusion you can jump to is that Atlus left a lot of money on the table by not making more copies. Not only that, but they put the game on sale for like $20 a month later on the eShop. It's almost as if nobody even opened their copies because they knew it'd be worth a lot sooner than later, so Atlus was just kind of like, hey, I bet you give us 20 extra bucks for a digital download. I mean, that way you're not gonna have to open that copy up that we're not making more of. And I bet a lot of people who bought physicals actually bought digitals just to actually play the game, so maybe Atlus was playing 4D chess when they only made a handful of physicals for this. Didn't work on me, though. Nah, I crashed my resale value all the way to the ground right after I bought the game. And then I cut my Persona Q1 cartridge in half.
Oh well, at least I got this Mara plush.
Even though the Persona Q games are nothing like the mainline games, though, I'd still recommend that Persona fans check them out when they eventually do get ports. I mean, yeah, drawing maps is gonna feel forced without the 3DS's touch controls, sure, but there's still a lot more meat on the bones than just that one feature. I mean, the battle system's pretty fun, and seeing all the different Persona cast members interacting with each other is pretty neat, too. Kinda like Spider-Man No Way Home, except way fewer people care.
But anyway, if my video didn't make you want to rip my vocal cords out with a fondue fork, though, then you should check out all the other videos I made on the Persona Q games where I go into a lot more detail, including the time where Atlus made me cut my cartridge in half for a download code. But if you'll excuse me, though, I gotta go call the fire department for my dad because he won't shut up about it. Later!